It's pure chance that I woke up and I have about 15, I'd say 20, a little bit more to talk. So, really weird shit happened. Joe's not here because really weird shit happened. He went to, let me preface this with Joe's a good guy, okay? That being said, I still have, I still, have the desire to share the things that I go through with him, and he goes through with me. Okay. When I first got here, a few days after I first got here, I was telling him, you're behaving you're like an abuser. And you guys are gonna get those videos, but you're gonna get them with the qualifier that this happened over 2 months ago. I didn't share them because I have to watch them, and they're very painful to watch. I 100% believed it was over. Remember, it being over is not just, it didn't work out, I moved back home and Joe and I are still phone friends. It's, as he pointed out, you leave, it's over, we will not be friends anymore. I will not take your phone calls, your texts, don't text, don't whatever, okay? How it happened is the scary part. How it happened is the scary part, okay? Remember, Joe is under a lot of pressure from his work. A lot of pressure. And the things he tells me, I don't just take his side because he's my longtime friend. I take his side because it's just ludicrous. Remember, he's from a different era, and of course he can, and I believe it. Remember, I analyze things without, I don't just believe things, I analyze things. And when I analyze how he's treated and whatnot, he works with people a lot younger than him. He's definitely experienced ageism, as in prejudice because of his age. And it's just, the things he tells me, I don't take his side because he's my friend. I take his side because I'm able to dissect the situation and say, yeah, that's not right. If one of your coworkers online, female, tells you you're mansplaining and also swears at you with the F word, there's no misinterpreting that. Joe doesn't treat people like that. He wouldn't. I don't care if it's a woman to a guy, guy to a woman, you don't do that shit. Okay? And then he goes to, and I know Joe was telling the truth. He told me the second it happened, and Joe doesn't lie. And he went to to report it to Human Resources or whatever, but it's a he said, she said thing. So I don't care. You don't do that, period. If you're upset, you don't do that. And things he's told me, and then they were bad mouthing him, and et cetera, et cetera. So, and I know my Joe. So but in any case, the things he tells me, but he also can be, insecure and arrogant, and perhaps he doesn't mean to, and he comes across that way to these people who are a lot younger than him and are living in a different type of reality and grew up differently than him. I can give you that. Right? So, in any case, if I can't, I can only go by what Joe says. Now, as for me, you know me, I'm going to tell you both sides. But we're going to start with this. Joe, if Joe was an abusive person, that's what Donald would do. He would blame me for his fuck up. You know what Joe did? I fucked up, but it wasn't my responsibility. So I don't feel responsible. I learned something though. Joe put his car in for inspection. I needed to do stuff in his garage. Okay. So I needed to do stuff in his garage, so I was aware and even said to him at his lunchtime, remember he's working from home, very difficult job, okay, where I feel that he does, sometimes get treated unfairly, but also it's just, I'm not going to tell you what he does, so, it has something to do with something if he's working from home, that's all I'll say, okay, that's just common sense. There's only certain types of jobs you can work from home. Right. Anyhow. He also goes on headphones. He has a lot of meetings. And I respect the meetings part. I respect him being on headphones, okay? I was busy doing my shit in his garage, going through papers, doing stuff, remember? The ultimate goal that I started back in Massachusetts and then I'm finishing here is separating all my papers from my mother's papers and all the important papers from the non-important papers. That is a long, tedious job, okay? It takes, in the end, probably 100 hours, who knows? Okay? I wouldn't have fathomed in 10 zillion years. In fact, I told Joe that, and he's like, see, Laura, that's what I don't understand. You think I'm so you think I'm so perfect. No, Joe, not I think you're so perfect. When somebody says you're not perfect, it's like, don't act like I'm supposed to be perfect. You're not perfect, When someone sarcastically says, like, you're so perfect or whatever, basically they're saying, God, you're treating, Anyway, he forgot his fucking car and the place wasn't open on the weekend. Let that sink in. I reminded him at lunchtime. I found out after the fact they even called him at lunchtime. I was doing my thing. I remembered about his car, but I don't live here. I don't know the situation. Again, it will never happen again, but I thought, oh my God, something happened. He got stuck at work. He can't go get his car. Something really major. Nope. It wasn't important because usually he's off earlier on a Friday. He completely forgot about his car. Okay. So we didn't have a car all weekend. He's probably going to get a penalty. He feels like an idiot. And he says to me, why didn't you say something? That's the thing. I just wouldn't have imagined he would forget his car. He's like, see, I tell you how hard my job is, but it's your car. I just wouldn't have fathomed it, Joe. I thought there's no way Joe is... Well, now I know. I'll know for the future. But an abusive person would, even though it wasn't my responsibility to tell him about his car, would have, like someone like a Donald, would blame me, fucking idiot. You knew about it. Why didn't you interrupt my... No. Joe did say, like, I don't understand why you didn't just go like this or say something to me. I said, I don't know, Joe. I just thought there's no way you forgot your car, and it's probably something really important. And I know there have been times which you admit that I try to interrupt you when you're on your meet and you don't do that, I just never fathom. See, Joe accuses me of assuming things and doing scenarios in my head, which we'll get to. I won't have time right now. Remember, there's going to be like several parts to this. I just happened to wake up. Can you imagine? He forgot his car. They're closed on the weekends. He doesn't know what's going to happen. Probably the car got stolen. I don't think so. But he knows he can't blame me. It was his responsibility. But he's puzzled. He's like, why? If you knew I was forgetting, why didn't you just because, I don't know, Joe. I just, headphones, I leave you alone. I tried to call you the other day when your Vitacost order was going to melt outside, because a lot of times you get those chocolate nutrition bars, go raw, and you hung up on me twice. So to me, and that was, I called him to be nice. We were fighting still. I wanted to be nice. And I'm like, fuck that, I don't care. But would it cross your mind that anybody would forget about their car? Especially when you'd reminded them just a few hours earlier, not because you thought they forgot, because you wanted to know how long you'd have in the garage to do your shit in the garage. He forgot his car. I said to him, after, the pain, the sting had worn off, I'm like, well, next time I say, do, or think something that you can't believe, remember this. But then he makes excuses, he's like, but I know now, Laura, now you know, I got caught up, I was helping somebody who was new, and blah, blah, I just forgot, I never imagined you'd forget your car, Joe. I thought there has to be some really, really important reason that, and I don't know that this place, you can't just, that you hadn't talked to them. I made this whole thing up in my head that wasn't true. He forgot his car. I should have told him. I said, next time I won't second guess you. Next time I will second guess you. I just didn't. You know what I mean? He forgot his car. I told him if I had to bet money that you would ever in a million years forget your car at the garage when it's closed on the weekend and you wouldn't have a car all weekend, I had to cancel our pickup grocery order and reschedule it, for the nighttime after work, after he gets out of work. He forgot his car. Oh my God, they must be like, at that place, like, what the fuck? How could somebody forget their car? Well, now we know. It's further proof of how stressed Joe is at his job. That he could actually forget his car. Of course, he was irritated with me, but he knows he can't be. That's the difference between an abusive person would blame you, even though it wasn't your responsibility. You blame me if you told me to remind you. You didn't. But basically, when I went in the garage at the end of the day, and the people called too when they were, and I was downstairs in the garage, I just didn't know. And I know Joe thinks that's really ridiculous on my part, but right back at you, I can't believe you forgot your car. I know, but I told you why I forgot my car. It's because I'm really stressed with this. I know. We go back and forth, right? And that's going to come into play, where if he's going to wants me to put myself in his shoes regarding that I don't experience and don't understand about his really hard job and what it does to him, and etc. He has to be able to put himself in my shoes. When we fight, he'll say shit like, why don't you just leave? No, Joe, that's not the answer. The answer is communication. You can't just be at me and call me insane and mentally ill and not want or allow me to say where I'm coming from. It doesn't come out of thin air. It derives from from how you are, or just my insecurity and fear. Does that make sense? This latest fight, remember, I haven't given you details yet, but I will. This latest fight of ours escalated because he wouldn't allow me to explain, not justify, but explain. Okay? Because it had to do with it's too complicated. I have to go back to bed almost. But you understand? It was the same thing a couple months ago. Me assuming something that wasn't true, and Joe was very insulted. He was really upset. And then it escalates because he starts screaming at me. But you could scream at me. I already said this. I don't know if I've uploaded these videos, but I wanted it to wear off. But then just last week we had another bad fight. And he won't let me explain. You can't just call somebody insane. If you want me to admit that I'm mentally ill, insane, or whatever, and it's not, but then you have to be willing to let me explain. He doesn't want to hear it. And then it was days later that I finally got a chance to say something to him. And then he's like, well, if you're not happy here, just leave. That's not an answer. And I'm trying to say, we're supposed to be friends. Friends communicate. You don't just throw words at me and not want to hear it. What I have to say in my defense, just to explain. I'm not saying you're not right, that you know, but you've got to let me say where it's coming from. And that's his problem. He doesn't want to hear my side. And that's not right, and that's not a friendship. You have to be willing to hear my side. You have to understand that I go through my own shit, that I'm worried about my mom, that I worry always about Oma, that I'm trying to do right here, and that and not upset you, and not, you know. These types of fights scare me because he can get vicious, and his answer, if is, you know, you have to let me. I can be mad at you. You can be mad at me. I can be mad at you. It goes both ways. It can't just be I'm not allowed to say anything negative about you, you know, because I'm here in your home. That's not a friendship. I can't imagine. This is a local business, small company. And that's why he wanted to go there. And then I'm sure he feels so stupid. But it doesn't take him long to walk down there. That's why he wanted to go. And I would feel like such an idiot. Oh my God. You know, I did something equivalent that Joe wouldn't let me live it down. I'm not going to be like that with him, but he's got to cut me some slack next time I say, think, or especially do something that he can't believe. I said that to him essentially, but he's still saying, but I told you it's because of my job. I know, but for you, it's your job that caused you to actually forget about it. For me, it's because I'm scatterbrained. you gotta realize you're not scatterbrained, but you know, you gotta cut me some slack, Joe. Does that make sense? Anyhow, there's more when I tell you the little details of our latest huge fight. It was a huge one. It lasted for days. We weren't talking to each other. Again, I thought it was going to be over. And that's scary for me, but I'm not going to just sit there and let you throw around words like insane or whatever. You've got to let me explain. If you want me to listen to you, you have to let me. It has to be a give and take. It's not a justification. It's not me saying, no, you're wrong. That's really. But how would he like it if I was trying? Nobody would like that. If you're trying, if you wanted, if somebody says blah 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 to you and they won't let you explain why, that makes you feel like nothing. I can't imagine like how Joe would feel if he was trying to say, you know, you behave this way, and I don't want to hear it. That's what he essentially did to me when I'm trying to explain what he does that causes me to behave in ways he perceives as insane. And I admit, but I think that's a strong word. I have problems. Emotional.